we're trying to draw that line, that distinction between rhetoric, proposals and policy. How important is that as you digest the moves and what it ultimately means for Boeing?
Yeah, definitely. I think you hit it on the head right now that there is a lot of headlines, but we still have to look at the fundamentals there. They're still negotiating a lot of the terms, if you will. I think now they, both China and the U.S., have each other's attention, and they've been kind of being very measured in the items that they're targeting. And so I think we have to watch where that goes. And then we also have to just look at the fundamentals for Boeing. And really over this next several years, we still see good cash flow. They have a good, solid backlog, and so we think they're still in a good position for long-term opportunities.
Something we discussed earlier on this program, Jeff, was just as an investor, what you need to adapt to is not what you think they should or shouldn't do. It's what the administration will or won't do, what the risk is that these things actually become policy and how you should adjust to that. Ultimately, Jeff, as you know, China is set to become the biggest market for these companies like Boeing, like Airbus. 50%, I think, of commercial jetliners operating in the country right now are Boeing. It's clearly a risk, but what kind of risk percentage do you put around this actually becoming policy?
Yeah, that becomes a little difficult to really gauge. I think what we want to really look at is if it does become a policy, where is Boeing, how is it situated? And again, we still have a large growing market internationally, and there is still limited capacity in the industry. And so, if there are some changes that happen with China's demand over the next several years, we do believe Boeing's in position to pull forward other customer orders and adapt to that. So we still believe that they're in a good fundamental position for long-term growth.
Jeff, is Airbus the big winner here?
I think, based on some of the headlines, it would appear that they are, in a good position. Again, we have to see where these all play out and what the actual terms are. But again, long term, we're talking probably 7+ years. If things stay the way the headlines are reading, I think they're pretty well positioned. But again, I think right now there's not a lot of capacity, and we don't see dramatic shifts in orders. So, if we look at a 7-year backlog for Boeing, again, we think they're in a pretty good position.